taking notes, just join in, just enjoy the session, just join in, relax, and I'll send it all through to you afterwards. Okay, you don't need to remember everything, and I'll send you the recording as well. Lovely. Okay, so we'll get started. There we go. Okay, so just to give you a bit of context, because some of you have been on some of the webinars. I've been doing kind of a weekly webinar since lockdown started, really, for various different mental health and wellbeing benefits for people. Some of you, this is the first one I think you've joined with me, and others of you I've seen lots of times before, which is great. So it's really nice to see familiar faces and new faces as well. So just to give you a little bit of context to where I guess this is coming from, really, and my kind of experience. So I'm an occupational therapist. I've worked in mental health and wellbeing for nearly 20 years now, and about 5 years ago I did a course for my own benefits, really, for my own mental health and wellbeing, which was an 8-week introduction to mindfulness course. It was a weekly course across 8 weeks, and I found it massively beneficial in my thinking, in how I felt, managing things like worry and stress and the day-to-day stuff that happens in life. I found it really helpful. So that then sort of felt it fit with kind of my values and what I do as a professional. So I trained to be a teacher and practitioner of mindfulness a couple of years ago with an organisation called the Mindfulness CIC, who are based in Leicestershire, in Newtown Linford. I'm in Leicester, and I trained with them, and then continued to deliver courses in all sorts of settings, really, educational settings, in a hospice, and my own private courses as well. So there are lots of different theoretical approaches to mindfulness. It's not a regulated approach at the moment, but there are lots of different ways, and I take a very integrated way. So I take some stuff from the training I've done, other things around the research I've done. I've collaborated with people that have done different things, so I've taken some of that, and I kind of create my own way with it, which works for me and works for people that have been on the courses I've done. And so some of that's around mindfulness-based stress reduction. Some of it uses mindfulness-based cognitive therapy principles. Some of the stuff is more traditional mindfulness based, so there's nothing religious around what I'll be talking about tonight, but certainly mindfulness has origins in Buddhism. And really, as an occupational therapist, I'm quite a practical person, quite a practical thinker, so I use some of that practicality to apply mindfulness in daily life and help people to do that in their lives as well. So that's where I'm coming from a background perspective, just to give you a bit of a view, really, because people do have different approaches with it, and that's worth knowing, because this might not feel right for you, or it might, and there are different, there are lots of different options. So don't worry that this is the only way. There are other ways as well. Okay, so as we begin, my screen's frozen. Okay, so I'd like you all just to take a moment as we start this to just pause and reflect. Just take a few moments quietly to yourself to think about the things I'm going to talk through now. So I think quite often it can be really easy for us to rush through life, keep going, without taking a lot of time to stop and to notice the things around us. So generally, as a society, certainly where we are, we normally, in our normal situations, we're quite busy. We want, or we need to be doing, we always need to be doing something to feel good, and there can be a lot of guilt with stopping and pausing, and feeling that we should be doing something, and we often rush from one thing to the next, get it done, completed, keep moving forwards. Okay, and I think a lot of people experience what I call like a constant noise. So there's always something coming in. There's always some information coming, whether that's emails or text messages or WhatsApp or phone calls, or all the different social medias that we're on, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be, Snapchat, and then TV. But there's always some kind of information to take in, how it often feels, and we can often take very little time to kind of stop and just do nothing, or being quiet or calm, and that can feel quite uncomfortable sometimes for people, to actually stop and do nothing and just stay calm, or find some quiet time, have nothing on, not the radio, Alexa, whatever it may be, just silence. So just taking a bit of a moment to think for yourselves then, just about that and what that means for you. Can you relate to that? Does that feel familiar or not? You know, or do you take some time to stop and pause and not rush through things? Okay. So mindfulness then. So very broadly speaking, in very simple terms, mindfulness is in awareness that emerges through paying attention to some particular things. So we pay attention, first of all, on purpose. So we intentionally pay attention to the present moment. So I'm talking about right here, right now, so that our attention comes to where we are right here, right now. And that's also done non-judgmentally. So we attach lots of judgments all the time to things, good, bad, positive, negative, right, wrong, all sorts of things. Yeah, we could think about the weather. We have an opinion, don't we? Have a judgment about what the weather is, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, and we create something around that, story around that. So with mindfulness, we try to lose that judgment about things, so that then we accept things as they are, just as they are. Okay. I want you to take a little look at this picture. I like this one. I like this image. How does that feel for you? If you're mindful, are you on the person on the left who's out walking, but lots of things popping in, thoughts, information, worries, regrets, planning, all sorts of things? Or a bit more like the dog, kind of taking it on and noticing the sun, the trees, the different things around, clearer, calmer, maybe more content? Okay, so mindfulness can be very simply described as a way of learning and choosing to focus that attention to the present moment, again, without judgment. So the way that we do that is around noticing when our mind has wandered and then bringing it back to the here and now. And that's really key. So being able to notice when you're thinking about the past. Sometimes in the past it can be things like worries or regrets or wishing things were different, or why did that happen, why did I say that, why did they do that, questioning, playing things over, dwelling on things. Or sometimes our mind is in the future and we're thinking about what might happen, preparing for all the different scenarios, the what ifs, and jumping ahead of time. And often those things that we think and worry about don't truly happen, but we create something in our minds that then takes our attention away from here and now. So one of the key things that mindfulness helps us to do is to notice when your mind's wandered away and gently bring it back. Okay, it's also about being a bit kinder to ourselves. So it helps us to be a bit more compassionate and kind in the way that we treat and think about ourselves. It can help to give us a break from kind of constant judgments. As I said before, those past regrets or anxieties about the future, what's to come, can help us to become more aware of and embrace what's happening right now. And that can be here and now, but that can be anything that you're doing, embracing what it is that you're doing at that time, which can help us sometimes to enjoy life a little bit more, feel a bit better about ourselves, and just be connected to things, what's around us and what's with us. Can also help us to worry a little less about the past and about the future, and then that in turn helps us to develop different ways to relate to and to respond as opposed to reacting to experiences, emotions, thoughts and feelings. So it helps to get a little pause, a little space between things so that we can choose our response as opposed to a reaction to something. So finding those ways to respond and see each experience as new, because even though we do similar things and we might go to the same place each day or we might do certain things, it helps us to see every time that happens as a new thing, separate from experience. They're all new experiences. Okay, so very simply put, there are two kind of strands to mindfulness, to developing mindfulness practice. Part of that is the formal practices. So it's kind of a sitting meditation practice. Meditation is part of mindfulness. So that kind of activity is around meditation. But then there's the more informal practices, as I call them, around the attitude approach to living a more mindful life. So the everyday stuff becomes more mindful. And there are some of the tools and techniques and strategies to learn through mindfulness. So for these kind of first steps that I was thinking about for everybody, I've just got some ideas together around different informal practices that you can do, and you can do them now. You can start tonight and do them from here on if you're not already. Ways to bring a bit more of a mindful approach to daily life. Okay. So these are just a few suggestions, and you can come up with your own, and you might already be doing other things, but just a few simple things that can get you started if this is new to you. So first one I've put down is around taking a break during the day, taking the break and just sitting for between 2 and 5 minutes, short space of time, 2 minutes if you've not done it before, and to sit in quiet and just focus on your breath and your breathing. So sitting calmly, quietly somewhere, doesn't have to be silent, but just somewhere quiet and just focusing on your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Really simple. One moment. No. Put the microphones off. Just a second. Okay, so the next idea for just bringing mindfulness into your day-to-day is take it, but there's a lot of kind of awareness of your senses in mindfulness. So looking around you and identifying things like colours, textures, shapes, scents, all sorts of things, can be taste if you're eating, all sorts of stuff. But just noticing those things around you a little bit more. So sometimes I'll do that by picking a colour, and if I'm out walking or if I'm in a room somewhere, I'll count how many things I can see in that colour, or different textures, and it just gives your mind a focus, a distraction from those thoughts of present or past, past or future, and helps you to come much more into what's happening right now. So the next one is one that we are doing quite a lot at the moment, is around hand washing. And that can feel sometimes a bit of a chore, something we do without even thinking, or we're a bit more conscious of it at the moment. But actually spending some time, notice how the water feels, notice the smell of the soap, what the temperature like, how do your hands feel, and really connecting with every little bit that you're doing, every small thing that you're doing, noticing it, spending some time, look, see what happens, look at all the different bubbles, the shapes, the smells, the sounds. Okay, so the next little tip is around eating and drinking a little bit more mindfully. So noticing flavours or textures. Sometimes we can be eating whilst doing other things, so encouraging you to just focus on one thing at a time. So maybe just the way that you drink your cup of tea or coffee, you know, how does it taste, sensations, flavours, taking time, taking time over a meal, just really savouring each mouthful, tasting what's happening, different things. Okay, and then the final one is around walking. So if you're able to go out at the moment and able to access outdoors, if you are going out for a walk or a run or a cycle or a scoot, whatever it may be, or if you can just look out the window, noticing things like sounds, colours, textures, buildings, nature, anything that's around you in the outdoors. And this is one I often do this with my little girl, she's 9, and we'll walk and we'll do things like, okay, so who can find 5 sounds first? And it can be really quiet, and we listen out, and she's really good at it. She gets there way before I do. Her hearing's much better than mine. But little things like that, really helping us to notice what's about us and appreciate things a little bit more. Okay, so the formal practices then, we're talking about meditation practices now, which some of you may already do. Just let somebody else in, just one moment. Okay, so the formal meditation practices, hold on one second, screen's frozen, there we go. Okay, so formal practices then around meditation, which lots of you may already do, involve sitting silently and paying attention to things like your thoughts, sounds, or sensations of breathing. Or sometimes you might do something like a body scan where you focus on different parts of the body. But again, bringing attention back whenever your mind starts to wander. So in a meditation, you might start to think about other things. Again, noticing it, bringing it back. And by doing that, by meditating, sitting just with your mind and your body as well, we train it to be a bit more open and at ease. And often through doing that, we can find things like greater calm and clarity, contentment and compassion for ourselves and other people. And it helps us to have then that direct experience of the present moment. So the meditation part of it is quite important because it helps us really to stop and connect with our minds and our bodies so that we can do that more readily in our daily lives. Okay, so what I thought we could do is just try a short meditation called an awareness of breath meditation. So literally somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, a really short one, and it's kind of where I started really. When I started meditation, I wanted to do kind of short things, and it's really simple, and all you need to do is just follow what I say, and I'm just going to talk you through just focusing on your breath, just bringing your mind to focus on your breath. So if it's entirely up to you, you can turn your camera off if you prefer, because you might want to close your eyes, and you might want to not everybody to see you. It's entirely up to you. And I'll use the sound of a bell just to signal the start and the end of the meditation. That's all that's there for. Okay, so if you want to just prepare yourself to start the meditation. Yourselves into a comfortable position in your chair. Just sitting in an upright, gently alert posture. Your lower back supported by a chair, or if you're on a cushion or sitting against the wall or the bed, just gently supported. And lower your gaze to the floor or close your eyes if you prefer. And just taking a moment to notice your body in contact with the chair or the floor or the bed, wherever you are. Seeing which parts of the body are in contact with it. Noticing your feet firmly on the floor. Now just starting to become aware of your breath as it enters your body. Just bringing your attention to your breath. You breathe in through your nose or your mouth. Breathe out. Just following the breath all the way in and all the way out. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest or your tummy, wherever you feel the movement of the breath. Following the breath as it comes in through your nose or your mouth, travels down into your core, turns around and moves out again. And perhaps you notice sounds. Just let them be part of this moment, just like the breath. Recognizing that you don't have to make the breath happen. It just is as it is. Perhaps you're having a thought, that's okay. Just notice it. Gently guide your mind back to the breath. Be curious about the breath. What happens at the end of a breath? Is there a pause, or do you move straight into the next breath? Noticing any space between the breaths. Not trying to make anything happen, we're just feeling the breath. So if you notice a sense of striving here, what would it be like to acknowledge it and just return to the rhythm of the breath, all the way in and all the way out? If you find yourself lost in thinking, that's okay. Just notice the thoughts, label them if it helps, and return to the rise and fall of the breath. Just following the breath all the way in and all the way out. Now just starting to expand your awareness to your surroundings. Maybe any sounds around you. In your own time, perhaps bring some awareness to any sensations in your fingers, toes, maybe give them a wiggle. Go back to noticing the feeling of the chair supporting your body, connection with the chair or floor or bed. I'm going to bring the meditation to a close with the sound of the bell. Just open your eyes when you feel ready. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so if you've got any thoughts or comments or feedback, if you want to pop anything in the chat, you're really welcome to. Some of you, that may have been the first time you've tried anything like meditation, and that's a really simple, short one you can do. Sometimes I'll just stop for 2 minutes and focus on my breath. You don't have to be feeling stressed and worried and anxious. You can do it any time. It can be really helpful. Some people find it uncomfortable, and that's okay. It's finding things that work for you, but also sometimes it's okay for things to feel a bit uncomfortable, and just to get used to that as well. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So a few really helpful things in there. Thank you. So yeah, trying to find a few minutes to not think, because our minds are busy, and again, but kind of what I didn't say was for me, I feel that mindfulness, it's not a sprint, it's a bit more of a marathon, but it also takes regular practice and intentional practice. So things don't change overnight, and don't need to change necessarily, but it's about having some space and time to focus where you want to, and start to bring it into daily life. So Manny's put 5 senses breathing is great. Yeah. So people can have a look at 5 senses breathing. Lovely. And first meditation, Caroline, thanks. Talking through the process helps. Guided meditations are really good. You don't have to know how to do it yourself. There's lots of places to use guided meditations, and it is a really good way to start. Yeah. So as well as it makes me realize how much I miss it when I don't do it. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can absolutely relate to that. Yeah. So what I've done is kind of from here. So you've choices. Some of you might be picking up some practice from previously. For those of you, this might be a new thing you're starting. So I've just got a few ideas for you to move forward from here, different ways, and this is up to you how you want to do it. So you might want to do a bit of research to look at because there are different approaches, there are different ways to do mindfulness, different theories around it. So you might want to have a little look and a bit of research for yourself. There's loads of stuff out there on the web, or an app, and I've got some links for you, suggested links as well. Some people might want to do an introductory course, and that may be online. It could be in person when we can be in person, or some people do things like using a book and reading through, and there's some really nice audible books out there with guided meditations you can download. I do a face-to-face course, a 5-week course, which obviously I won't be running at the moment. I'm considering whether to put that to make that an online course. So it'd be really interesting to see if people do like the sound of that. It would be sort of over 5 weeks. I'm thinking of doing something that people can tap into. They don't have to be present every Monday evening or something you can access in your own time. So that'd be useful to know, and whether people are interested. Okay. So, okay, so Isabel's just put How to Be Human by Ruby Wax is good, brilliant. That's some good meditations, fantastic. Trina's put it's made it more important, realize how important it is to take those 2 minutes out, for your day, even if it's that's the one thing you aim for. Absolutely. And some good tips. Great. So we've got kind of their ways that you can move forward. I've put on lots of different links here, because again, you can use what you want to really. So loads of different links. The NHS web link at the top has a link to this one down here, which is Be Mindful. And that's an online course that's set up and ready to go for anybody that wants to do that, and the NHS endorsed that. So just sort of put that there in case you do want to get cracking, get on with something. Headspace has got lots of free content at the moment. It's really useful. And I've just put on this lady I know called Rachel, who was going to join the call tonight. I don't think she's there, but she there's something called Mindful Magic in Leicester, and she does some online sessions, live sessions, and recorded things as well. So just put a few things for you to look at, a few apps that might be useful. I really like Smiling Mind. I like the way that's set up, but again, finding something that works for you. There's lots of free things to get started with, or if you want to pay a monthly fee, you can do that with something like Headspace or Calm. And I've just put a few books on as well, because at the moment, obviously, accessing a face-to-face course isn't really an option, and people have different ways that they like to receive knowledge, really. So if you're a reader, if you like books, there's a few here for you. Anything by Eckhart Tolle or John Kabat-Zinn would be really good. Ruby Wax has got some great stuff, and she's got a really nice selection on YouTube as well. So I've just put a few suggestions there for you. Okay. So I've been running sort of 30-minute webinars for the last few weeks, really, which I've really enjoyed doing with everybody. I won't be running any for a couple of weeks because I've joined up to be a volunteer for the Frontline service, which is an NHS, which is a service for NHS staff. It's a mental health and wellbeing support and crisis service. It's phone and text. So I've signed up to be a volunteer with them, and that's going to be a couple of weeks of training now, and then I'll start. So I thought to look after my mental health and wellbeing. I'm going to not do any webinars for a couple of weeks, but I wanted to let you all know about Mental Health Awareness Week in May, because I'm definitely doing plenty of stuff that week. So if I don't get to do anything before then that people can access, this will be there. So there'll be all sorts of things that I'm going to put through on social media and do some live things as well. And I've just put a couple of links because some of you might be interested for Mental Health Awareness Week for yourselves, or for your workplace, or for a school, or just for friends, family, whatever is useful to you. So there's a couple of links there. So it's from the Mental Health Foundation, and you can download packs and all sorts of things. The theme this year is kindness. It was sleep, but they changed it recently for obvious reasons to kindness. Okay, so there's some links there for you if you are new to me and you want to have a look at my Facebook page. I've been posting things for weeks and weeks around helpful stuff around looking after your mental health, different tips, links to videos, websites, just little hints and tips here. You're welcome to do that, or connect with me on LinkedIn. And I think that's everything. So we've got some really nice stuff in the chat. If you can see chat, you'll see there's the Frazzled Cafe online with Ruby Wax. And she does quite a lot of stuff for parents as well on there. Fiona's put Ruby's doing a talk for us in the Gentle team. Brilliant. I'm going to send you the link. Okay, you're not too late to do mental health support work. You can still register. Fiona, I'll email you the link. So what I'll do, probably tomorrow now, is that I'll send the presentation through to everybody. I'll send the recording of this as well, so that that's there for you. I'm not precious. I'm happy for you to share it with anybody you think it would be beneficial to. Not a problem at all. And just keep in touch. And then if you're happy, I'll pop you all onto a mailing list as well, and let you know of anything I've got coming up in the next month or so as things move forward. Okay. So thank you all so much. I'll stay online for a few more minutes for anybody that might have any particular questions or things they want to chat through. But if not, thanks ever so much for joining. I hope it's been useful to you. You've got a few ideas and tips to move forward. Hopefully see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Kate. That was really well presented.
Thanks, Manny.
No problem. I really enjoyed it. I think that's a great idea, doing the online courses. Have you got my email?
I have got your email. Yes, I have got your email.
I'd be more than happy to commit to a 5-week course, So okay. If you can keep me informed, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I will do. Just grabbing my pen. Yeah, definitely. I'll let you know. It's one of the, so I've got all the material there for a face-to-face course that I normally run. I just need to translate it to online. And it's finding the time with things right. Like that, and I'll just sign up to be a volunteer. So it can definitely happen. It's just getting the technology sorted. So yeah.
Okay, that's
Thanks,
great.
Manny. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.